So the Valhalla Valkyries are a team I'm actually really excited to watch because they've got a ton of EU powerhouse players that have existed in the league and in Smite for so long that it's really interesting to see, but they also have a ton to prove behind that.
What is there to say about the Valkyries? The Valkyries are a team that I think I have really high expectations for, and it might be a little bit unwarranted. When you look at that team just top to bottom on the roster, they've got a ton of talent. You got guys like Raffer, you got guys like Johnny, Emilito coming back to the SPL. But it's talent that's incredibly old and talent that is not quite tested just yet. And the biggest question mark for me on that roster is Johnny out of the jungle.
So I imagine there's a lot of time invested in this offseason in getting Johnny up and running on a different pool of gods that's more facilitator or less solo carry. That said, if you're able to build around that type of play style and make something work behind the scenes, maybe we'll all be surprised.
But how does that translate into the SPL, right? I want to see what his jungle play can do. I think it's going to be interesting to see what his god pool is going to be able to contribute for this team, as well as how well it can pair with people like Zeros, as well as this duo lane, this Iraffer and Emilito duo lane that has found so much success in the past. And when you look at that duo lane as well, you have to look towards Emilito as someone that he hasn't really had the most successful last few years.
Can Emilito bring it? Can he dust off the mouse and keyboard at the SPL level and find some kills? That's maybe where this team lives and dies, because a lot of the rest of it, it's kind of up in the air. How can Johnny and Zeros convert themselves to the SPL? That's the other big question. But I think that shows where that difference level in play style and playability comes in from the SEC to the SPL. I think Zeros can perform at this level. I think Johnny can perform at this level.
Ducky out of the Soul Lane is a player that, for my money, is riding his entire reputation on this year. The conversation around Ducky since his introduction to the SPL is he's an incredibly talented player that has not been given the opportunity to succeed because of the teams he's been on. We can't say that this year because finally he's surrounded by a ton of other veteranship. He's on around a team that should probably be a little bit higher seeded than something like Obey. He's got guys like Raffer who should be able to make use of his skills. He's got talent like Zeros out of the mid lane, who's been one of the most mechanically talented mid laners that Smite's ever seen. He's got junglers like Johnny, who, although having a smaller kind of eccentric god pool, has been dominant in the European SEC. If Ducky doesn't step up this year, if this isn't the year of Ducky, it might spell the end of Ducky.
I think the meta is going to dictate a lot of whether or not this team finds its success. Otherwise, they're maybe just going to coast in the middle of the pack.